Hey everyone, it's Witcher the Wizard with your Twin Flames, the Twin Within energy report for March 31st to April 6th. So, in case you're new, I'll just repeat it again. What I do is I'm on the Twin Flame journey. This report is for people who are on the Twin Flame journey. And the way I look at it is I'm really looking at our masculine and feminine energies within us, so that we can come to unity within us, meet our twin within, come to unity, come to wholeness within ourselves, and in doing so, bring about the lives that we dream of having. I believe that is the master step. So I'm going to dive right into it. I pull one tarot card for the feminine energy, one tarot card for the masculine energy, and then an oracle card to tie them all together. So starting out for the feminine energy, we have the the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles. So when I think of Pentacles, you know, the most common thing that comes to mind is wealth and abundance. But as I was sitting there looking at the card, for me, what really came to mind was embodiment. And so what do I mean by embodiment? Well, I mean physicality. Your body. Everything about your body. And I know that that the Earth suit is considered as a feminine energy, right? And yet, when we think of embodiment and physicality, specifically physicality, we often think of masculine physicality. We often think of big brawny men and that type of physicality, right? We rarely think of women, like who, even though we all have masculine and feminine energies within us, women are their bodies are the physical embodiment of the feminine energy, the feminine archetype. And so why do we think of men when we think of physicality? Why not women? And I got to thinking about that. And yeah, men are larger, in general. You know, we have more muscle mass. We maybe have thicker bones. And yet, when you really think about women's bodies and just the changes that women go through from childhood to adulthood to I'll even say from prepubescent to pubescent to post-pubescent. Just the crazy amount of changes that women go through and the complex hormonal cycles that they have in order to facilitate these changes, to go from literally a child to a woman who can give birth, gestate, grow a human inside of them, and then give birth, and all the physical changes that need to go onto their body to push a baby-sized object out of their vaginas, which just is unthinkable how that actually occurs. And then to go back to, or sometimes not even close to, just think about how many women go through incredibly life-altering changes after they give birth, and how they have to deal with that. How they don't have their old body, they don't get their old bodies back, or sometimes their inner system changes and they become allergic to things that they were never allergic to before. then going through these changes and how the women's bodies can actually produce food for human beings. So they can create human beings, they can create food for human beings. They do all of this going in and out of these cycles, these massive changes back and forth, and then eventually they reach post-pubescence, and their bodies go through yet another change to where they completely cycle out of being able to create human beings, and they become yet again something completely transformative, completely different. And generally we call these new creatures our favorite grandmas, right? Our favorite people in the world are grandmas. And just thinking about that just amazes me, the level of physicality in all of that, the level of abundance that goes into having bodies that can go through all those transformations within a lifetime, and create humans and create food and survive all of that. The amount of toughness it takes, both physically, mentally, emotionally, to go through all of that and survive it intact, and sometimes not so intact, but still surviving, is just that's physicality. But it's a very subtle level of physicality. It's not in your face. It's not showy. It's not flashy. But it's tremendously powerful. It's tremendously capable. It's tremendously abundant. And life affirming and life creating and love creating and love affirming. And so this week we're really called to remind ourselves of how we're supposed to really be in our bodies, to be embodied. We are spirits. But we're not ghosts for a reason. We live in these bodies for a reason. And so as I was sort of preparing to make this video, and I was thinking, oh gosh, I'm really going through some weird energy right now. Should I make this, video while I'm going through this weird energy? And as I pulled these cards, I did it anyway. And as I pulled this card, and I'm looking at the feminine energy with the Knight of Pentacles, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, there is no better time than right now, even with all these weird energies, because we hear so much about energies coming in and flowing through us and doing that and this and that. It all sounds like it's something happening, coming from outside of us, happening to us. And when I look at the Knight of Pentacles and I think about women and their bodies and all of that stuff that's going on with them, and I think, yeah, these weird energies that we feel isn't something from outside of us passing through us, and we have to wait until everything clears up before we can be us. It is us. It's just us. It's part of us. Everything that happens to us is us. It's part of us. If women waited till they felt better to give birth, they would never give birth. They realize at some extremely deep level that all of those strange cravings that they have and crazy stuff that goes on in their bodies while they're pregnant and about to give birth is just them. It's them. It's an integral part of them. And all of these weird energies that we're feeling, seemingly more and more often these days, it's just us. All of our difficult emotions that we're working through, and maybe even physical ailments that we're struggling with, or emotional ailments in some cases. In my case, I constantly struggle with emotional ailments. And what I've been doing is I've really started to change my thinking and stop calling them emotional ailments or strange energy or whatever. It's just me. It's just part of the dialogue of my life. And there's nothing wrong with it. I may not understand it. It may be uncomfortable. But there's no part of that that's foreign or alien to me. It's just me. And so more and more, I'm not thinking, is this the right time to do this because I feel weird, or I feel some difficult energies, or this, that, and the other. I am starting to think, no, wait, this is like, these difficult energies are part of the process. They're an important part of the process. They're here for a reason. I'm like feeling like this for a reason. It's not a mistake. And as I move in action, feeling all my, being embodied in myself and whatever is going on, physically, emotionally, mentally, energetically, whatever. Really being in that space and being with whatever is going on with me, it actually starts to, I start to realize how much of a role it plays in the story of what I'm doing at that given time. And it's giving me clues, and it's giving me resources, and it's helping me to create in ways that I just didn't understand before, because we're not taught to think that way. We're taught to think that if you're not feeling tip top, then there's something wrong with you. There's something off with you. Wait until you feel better. Wait until you're in, a clear state of mind. Wait. But I don't think that's what we're supposed to do. I don't think we're supposed to wait. I think we're supposed to take those ingredients that we've got in the moment and make that dish that we're trying to make. Those ingredients are important. And yeah, it might seem like, some kind of Iron Chef challenge of, here, take all these crazy ingredients and make something delicious with it. But think about how cooking got started in the first place. How did anybody ever figure out these really complex recipes? They kind of just went with it. And I think in a way that's what we're doing these days in this sort of spiritual awakening that everyone seems to be going into more and more, is that we're taking all these weird energies and conditions and feelings, and we're starting to really just go with it. And instead of having these really simple recipes that we've been so used to in our lives, we're starting to really figure out some more complex recipes. And in doing so, we're starting to create more and more interesting dishes in our lives. We're coming up with these amazing creations that nobody had ever thought of before. And it's astounding. It's kind of, we're working our way up from peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Spiritually, we're working our way up from peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to, like duck à l'orange or something like that. And so I encourage everyone to, whenever we're going through these times where you go on the YouTube channels and the astrologers and whomever are saying, and the intuitives are saying, "Ooh, this is going to be a really difficult, strange, weird, fantastic, whatever week for energies or time for energies." Don't be put off by that. Like, go with it. Go with it. Just work with it, and see what comes out. Because we are here. This is embodiment. This is the essence of embodiment. This is the essence of spirit and materialism coming together and working very deeply with each other. So that's what I've got for the feminine energy. And then the masculine energy, we have the Ace of Swords, which is inspiration. Okay. The Ace of Wands is really inspiration. The Ace of Swords is clarity. Because the Suit of Swords is all about discernment, intellectual discernment and clarity. Not analysis, but true awareness that comes from your third eye. So true, what we would call wisdom. Right? Another word for clarity is wisdom. Another word for wisdom is clarity, discernment. And so as we're working with all of these strange energies, and we're just going to go with it, and we're going to dive deep into it, and we're going to just be embodied in ourselves. The act of doing that, because the masculine energy is an active energy, right? The feminine energy is about receiving all these weird energies, receiving our embodiment, receiving, being in the abundance of receiving. And the masculine energy and being in action in all of that crazy, mixed up, weird state actually brings us a new level of clarity, of discernment, of wisdom, of understanding, and of being able to, discernment is ultimately being able to separate between what is real and what is illusion, right? Because our egoic mind is there to pay attention to the limitations of the world, but in doing so can create illusions. Kind of oversteps its authority and in doing so creates illusion. And so that's where being embodied, your spirit being embodied into your physicalness and being put into action and all of that craziness creates discernment of what is real and what is an illusion, created by our own limited analytical minds. And it's not a bad thing, our minds are there to try and protect us. But it's up to us to prune its activities and know what's the fruit and what's the wheat, what are the weeds, and what are the fruit of the analytical mind. We have to constantly be weeding that garden, so that we're pulling out the illusions and we're leaving only the fruit and the flowers, right? And so yeah, being in action, being embodied in ourselves and our energies, and whatever weirdness is going on, whatever feels, however uncomfortable it feels, being into that and then being into a masculine state of action helps create that discernment, that wisdom. And so that's what we're doing this week. We're going with it, however weird or crazy or difficult or uncomfortable energies, emotions, feelings, thoughts come up with you. It's be with that. Don't think that there's something wrong with that, and get into action, and you will gain a new level of awareness. from that. And in doing so, you're going to start to create some really wonderful things in your life. You're going to level up your recipes, and you're going to start cooking some amazing things in your life. Okay, so let's move on to the Oracle card. I have not looked at it, so here we go. Peaks of Joy. Ooh, that sounds really good for this reading. Peaks of Joy, 33. Okay. All right. Your life is filled with happiness, so share it with others. Joy is yours today. No matter what your inquiry, you will be happy with the results. You're coming closer to a sense of achievement, and you've worked hard for it. You're surrounded by true companions, and events are synchronistically arranged to bring you to the next level of your life. The world is singing a beautiful harmony. Life is exhilarating and hopeful. Let gratitude fill your heart, and remember to share your happiness. Joy is contagious. So I see that as kind of working with us coming into our sense of abundance, regardless of our circumstances, regardless of how we feel, regardless of the strange energies, the difficult emotions, the physical challenges. We're seeing that as abundance. And as we start to see that as abundance, and as we start to continue to act and gain that clarity and that discernment and that wisdom, more and more we see that our lives are just filled with joy. And so that's what I've got for this week. Whatever you're going through, it's there for you. It's there for a reason. It's not something you have to wait until things get better or until things clear up. Yeah, it's a strange, exotic condiment for your new recipe. So go with it, play with it, be with it, be in action, do whatever you're supposed to do with that, and see what comes up. See what rises out of the pan. So that's what I've got. Have a great week. Comments are always welcome. Be safe, be happy, and I'll see you next week. Bye.